Did we have any season long bets where you had? Oh,
I don't think so.
Henry versus Pollard.
I won that bet.
Tony versus Moore. Nobody won that bet. Oh, and I had Barkley. All right, sweet. I won that.
Oh, I had Barkley. I was not betting on Pollard. You were betting on Pollard.
Kid doesn't look like we're dropping frames.
Yeah, I don't even know what all those are anymore.
What's going on, everybody? Is my microphone on? Let's see. It sounds like it is. Hello? Yeah, it was on, huh? I just didn't have my headset on all the way. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to FFT, Fantasy Football Theories. Giving you game picks, injury updates, fantasy must-starts, someone to root for. I'm your host, Ray, calling it like I see it. And try bringing in extra element beyond regular statistics. You can find me at Clouded Jester with me at All Things Social Media. With me today are Ken and Brian. Ken is our game analyst, watching every game and going beyond the stats for fantasy projections. You can find him at Ken Against the Clock on Instagram, Mr. Goodbet on X, and Baba Yaga on the Sleeper app. And then Brian is the fantasy bad man, expert fantasy football and poker player. He's in the casino industry for over 20 years, our defending league champion, and absolutely destroying in DFS this year. You don't find him, he finds you. How's it going, everybody?
Hey. Welcome in, everyone.
Welcome to Championship Week. You know, well, for some people. Not us.
Right.
Not us. We died.
So just last week you kind of gave me a nickname and it stuck in my head and I really liked it. The House. You said betting against you is like betting against the house all the time. And I'm just like, I love that. I love that so much. All right.
Well, I do what I can.
So we had an interesting game last night. I watched half of it, and then my kids took over the TV.
The thing that's going to get talked about the most is going to be the blunder to me, it's both sides. Like, I think people are probably going to blame the officiating, and I mean, you can, I guess, but because I guess technically he like kind of shortcutted a little bit.
And we're talking about the guy that was supposed to report.
So what happened, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, is last night the Lions tied up the game with 26 seconds to go. And they didn't tie up the game. They scored the touchdown, and they lined up to go for 2 to take the lead rather than tie the game with 26 seconds to go. They thought that they had reported their proper eligible receivers and threw a touchdown pass to the guy that lined up at left tackle. It was called an illegal touch because that player was trying to be nonchalant about checking in as an eligible player. He was trying not to draw attention to himself, and the Lions were trying to distract the Cowboys by running another offensive lineman onto the field who hadn't been on the field. And he does kind of make a gesture onto himself, and that particular player had checked in multiple times as an eligible receiver earlier in the game. So they tricked the official too. That was the problem. They tricked the Cowboys, but they also tricked the official. That was the problem. And at the end of the day, it was 68's responsibility to make sure that the official heard him as eligible so that he could go report it to the Cowboys. Because the defense gets to know who the eligible receivers are, and the Cowboys didn't know that 68 was eligible. So the Lions are mad, but you know, there was still 26 seconds on the clock, and they had like CeeDee Lamb set a Cowboys record.
How many yards did he get?
227, I think. Last night was
crap.
It was the most the Cowboys receivers had since like 1971 or 1972, something like that. Like,
wow.
and the most any Cowboys receivers ever had in a primetime game. Like they just couldn't stop them. They could not stop them. When the Cowboys were attempting to run out the clock, they wanted to get first downs. Rather than try to run the ball, which they had been completely ineffective at all night long, they chose to throw the ball to CD, and and he caught, like, in a 2-minute, like, trying to run out the clock scenario, he picked up another 10 yards and a catch. You know, yeah, it's crazy. He had such a great night. So if I were a Lions fan, like, yeah, they kind of, like, it was a Lions getting Lionsed kind of situation, you know, kind of like the. It's just stuff that happens to them, unlucky. But there was still time on the clock. The Cowboys kicker is perfect this year and has nailed multiple 60-yarders. So I don't, you know, and the Cowboys still had 2 timeouts. So I don't think that the Lions would have won the game anyway. I think they still would have lost the game. It just would have been on the Cowboys to actually, you know, finish it on the offensive side.
And let me get this from you. They got a penalty at one point, and it's...
Which one?
Well, at some point for the two-point conversion, they have the ball on the 7, right? And
Yeah,
they go for it. That's crazy to me. Like, why not just kick the extra point at that point?
Yeah, and you know what? When they asked Dan Campbell about it after the game, all he said was, "Look, when we got the ball, I told the guys we're going to go down, we're going to score, and we're going to go for 2, and we're going to win the game." So that's what we were doing, and he didn't like adjust his thinking based on, you know.
I gave my word.
Yeah, that's I mean, yeah. So, and you know what? I think honestly, that's probably what the players would have wanted to do. That's probably
not smart.
Well, you say that, but also again, they hadn't stopped CeeDee Lamb all night. Yeah. They could not stop him. They could not, at this point. They could not stop the Cowboys' passing attack. Whether it was CeeDee Lamb or Brandon Cooks, the Cowboys were destroying them. They weren't.
Yeah. Cooks was one of my prop bets. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I hit all my prop bets.
I started him over. So I lost my semifinals because of your bad advice. However, in my third place, I'm in my third place match, and I started him over HN.
Wow.
In one of my. And I was like, you know what? I wonder if Brian would want to bet against that because the points are already on the board.
Bet against what? Oh, HN versus no.
Yeah.
No.
See,
he's so hit or miss.
Probably not. Yeah.
What were you saying, Ray?
The 14 points.
I was just saying, you know, they could blame it on that all they want, but they had an opportunity to kick a field goal and they didn't to take the points.
To tie.
You know, they had that opportunity. Yes. Well, right early in the game to make it 6-7.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, and they went for it instead. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they had the PAT. And I want to say there was one other opportunity too for them to kick a field goal.
And that's why I was actually super impressed with Goff at the end of the game. You know, because rather than whining about what was going on, he said, "Look, it doesn't come down to one play. There were a lot of other things that happened in the game that caused us to lose."
Yeah, I mean, they left. If I remember correctly, 2 opportunities to kick field goals, and they chose to go for it on 4th down.
Because that's who they are. That's
and
like they go for it.
That's 7 points on the board right there. They could have.
It was later in the game too. They went for it on like 4th and 3 and didn't get it. So
it's just. I mean, come on. You're leaving all these points on the board against Cowboys. Like, I was just, and your defense went and got you the ball, and you came away with nothing when you could have came away 3 and hyped your D up a little bit. Like, that was just bad play calling. I don't want to hear any excuses from Lions today. It's for that 2-point thing. Like,
when you have a game where if your opponent is scoring and you can't stop them, you're struggling to stop them, going for it on 4th down makes a lot more sense. When you're locked in a defensive struggle with another team, you take every opportunity for points you can get.
Agreed.
Yeah, it wasn't like it was like they needed to play catch up. And 3 points
and on the other side,
it was a really close game.
The Cowboys kicked field goals, and the Cowboys punted the ball and played defense. So, like,
ground out victory.
And also, and even so, like, you know, people aren't going to don't ever like to give Mike McCarthy credit, but he outcoached Dan Campbell last night, and even I was impressed like with the Cowboys' last field goal. It was 4th and 6, and they lined up like they were going to go for it. And even like I was like I you know verbally said I hate this, like, because I want to kick the field goal. And Troy Aikman is like, it's a different league, you know. This is like I'm taking the points here, and all they were doing was lining up to see if they could draw them offside. So then they would go for it at 4th and 1. And I was like, he's just on top of it right now. You know?
There you go.
So, and also like to go from that, we'll lead into our Homer minute. The
It
Cowboys
was a Cowboy game, kind of your Homer minute already.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's also it was just happened and it was big. There was a lot of stuff. So one last thing. We'll talk about this in the Homer minute. The Cowboys just got finished playing 2 playoff games, so that feels really good. They like one on the road and one at home. Those were 2 really good teams. Those if you watched both of those games, those were playoff games. Those were fantastic games.
And important for you to win those after the big loss. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yes, absolutely.
had
And as a fan, I really wanted us to win one of the Miami game or the Buffalo game. Just one of those games. I knew that we needed. If we had won one, we'd have had an excellent shot to win the division. It would be ours.
Right.
Like we'd be looking at if we beat the Commanders, we'd win the division.
Good luck with
because
that.
because of how things shake down. Because it's so weird too. Because a couple weeks ago, if the Cowboys and Eagles, when they were both 10-3, if they had both won out from that point, the Eagles would have won the division. But because the Eagles picked up another NFC loss while the Cowboys didn't, the Cowboys were playing AFC teams. If they had won out from last week, the Cowboys would have won the division.
So where is it right now? Right now,
the Eagles win out, they win the division.
They win out. Okay.
Yes, we Cowboys fans need the Eagles to lose to either the Cardinals today or the Giants next week.
Ouch.
And I want the Cardinals today. I'm rooting for the Cardinals today. Like even though this I think they no the next week they're in New York. Next week they have to go to New York, and I mean obviously like I'll be wearing my Saquon Barkley jersey that day if the Eagles haven't lost today, but I don't have a whole lot of faith in the Giants to get it done.
Right.
I think the Giants got a better shot getting it done than the Cardinals.
You do?
I agree with that too.
I don't. I actually
At least it's a division opponent, knows
I think
them well.
because it's Kyler Murray. Oh, and that's another thing is like the Eagles they've just been punishing the Giants. Their matches aren't even close. Like the Christmas one was the closest one that we've had in several years.
Yeah. All right. What's our question?
So Steven Grise, I think he's new. Steven, are you new? Don't
What's up,
forget
Steven?
to sub and subscribe and hit that notification
What's up,
bell.
man?
Week 2 of championship, PPR, down a bit and need to make up some points. Sit 1, D. Adams, C. Cup, A. Jones, DK Metcalf, T. Chandler, Z. White. Sorry, meant pick 3.
Pick 3. Same again.
Yeah, I need to look at these here.
D. Adams, C. Cup, A. Jones, DK Metcalf, T. Chandler, and Z. White.
I would start Zamir White, Cooper Kupp, and Aaron Jones.
Wow.
I don't. I'm very afraid of Devontae Adams because of Aiden O'Connell's ineptitude.
Right.
Like he didn't complete a pass after the first quarter against the Chiefs.
GK feels tough to
And actually,
bench, though.
so somebody's statistics on his passing yards. The fourth quarter is where the most fantasy points are scored. Like the majority of fantasy points are scored in the fourth quarter because that's when teams are just like they're just back and forth. In the last 3 games, Aiden O'Connell has passed for 7 yards, 6 yards, and 0 yards in the fourth quarter. So I don't want any part of Devontae Adams. I like Cooper Kupp against the Giants. The Giants secondary is terrible. Aaron Jones looked awesome last week, and he's going to get 20 touches again against the Vikings, a team that he traditionally just torches.
Vikings D has been.
And they're at home. No, they're not at home. No, they're on the road.
I don't know. See, I'm Aaron Jones. I'm iffy on. I love Cup. I love Zamir White.
You were iffy on Aaron Jones last week. What happened?
He was in a good matchup though last week.
This is a good matchup too.
I don't think that's a great matchup.
That's where I would be. So I'm sorry. Let me.
Other choices would be what? Metcalf,
Ty Chandler.
No, I wouldn't.
Metcalf is injured right now. I actually don't hate Ty Chandler. Like that's where it would be for me is like it would either be Aaron Jones or Ty Chandler. I wouldn't want to bet on Devontae Adams or DK Metcalf today.
See, I wouldn't want to put my money on Chandler there. I need to take a better look at Adams' stats, but I'd be leaning towards Adams or DK there.
DK's injured.
Yeah, I need to look at that.
DK's injured and playing against the Steelers. I actually really like Jackson Smith and Jigba today, a lot more than I like DK anyway. Like, I like Jackson Smith and Jigba as my favorite Seahawks receiver today anyway. But that's where I would be. I would be with Cooper Kupp and the 2 running backs. Cooper Kupp and 2 of your 3 running backs.
All right, so
Zamir White would be Zamir White would be first.
I think I'd end up going Adams there if DK's hurt. So.
And actually, and that's the thing is, if you're going to play Zamir White, you don't want to play Adams too.
That is true.
And Zamir White's matchup is just.
We got 2 questions in the queue. First up by 7730. And then the next question is by George Cook. Both of those 2, I believe, are new time viewers. Don't forget that subscribe button for us, guys.
What's up, guys?
Went up against Lamb. One PPR, Barkley, HN, or Rashi Rice. Rashi Rice.
You're talking about wow. That's. I mean, your lineup must be pretty good, but I'd be starting Rashi Rice.
Wow. Over Barkley and who's the other?
HN.
Yeah, Achan's my number 3 there. I'd have a hard time sitting at Barkley there. I think I'd go Barkley.
He's playing against the Rams. The Rams' rush defense is actually really good. You're still not in on Rashi Rice. You're like the only one in the world.
No, dude, I have him in one of my leagues. I'm very proud of
Rashi Rice is Patrick Mahomes' number 1 target.
And Mahomes needs to throw the ball today. Can only throw the ball
against
today,
the Bengals today.
I get it, but man, in championship week, I'm not sitting Barkley. I'll just say that.
I would, and I would. Like,
there you go. Sorry for the no help.
I mean the matchup is if we're talking about PPR. That's the thing is we're talking about PPR. If we're talking about non PPR, I'd want to have Barkley. But if we're talking about PPR, like I think that Rashi Rice has more of a chance to score, and he's definitely going to catch 8+ balls today. He's automatic for that.
Okay, next question.
All right.
Half PPR. This is for George Cook. Half PPR. Aaron Jones or Ty Chandler.
Aaron. Oh man, that's a really good one, and Aaron Jones for me.
Yeah, and I'm not the biggest fan, but I'd go Aaron Jones there as well.
And then last question, also by George Cook: Buffalo D or Raider D?
So let's real quick on that last one. This is championship week, so like if you have a toss-up question, go with the guy that you think could score more touchdowns. And Aaron Jones is a touchdown machine. Like he just can. At any given game, he can score 3 or 4 touchdowns. He can win you a championship. Aaron Jones is a championship winning player, and Ty Chandler and this is coming from. I spoke to my uncle, who's a huge Vikings fan. This guy is like on the ground. Was talking to me yesterday about a conversation he had with Randall Cunningham about the '98 team. Doesn't like Ty Chandler at all.
Yeah,
thinks he's just a guy. So, and this guy, he's a 50-year Vikings fan. You know, this guy knows absolutely everything there is to know about the Vikings. Whenever they've got something going on, I absolutely ask him first, and he's not a fan. So, that's where I would be. I would definitely put my money on Aaron Jones first.
There you go. I don't have the expert opinion to go off of, but I haven't been a fan of Chandler either. I've been very surprised by his recent success. So
he's just faster than Madison.
Yeah. And so the defense question we had
Buffalo D or Raider D?
Raider D.
Sorry, give me Buffalo versus
this Patriots.
Okay, love that. And Raiders versus
Colts, Minshew. And the Raiders D just like the Raiders D, what they've done over the last month. I'm not like the Bills.
That is true.
The Bills struggled against the Chargers and Easton Stick last week. Okay.
Yeah, the
and
Raiders
if you watch that Sunday night game, Zappy can do it. They like him. He can run that. Did you watch that Sunday night game?
I'm just saying, man. You and your bad quarterbacks, Zach Wilson, Zappy.
Oh my God. Dude. His name's Bailey. What am I gonna do? I gotta be a fan. Right?
So
fair enough.
So
773 is giving us their lineup. That might give you guys some insight on who to go with. The lineup is Josh Allen, JT, Rashad White, JJ, and Ayuk, Evan Ingram, Matt Gay, and the Bears defense. And then
is he just bragging? Or?
Yeah,
I think he.
pretty
Well,
much
that
like
was
the lineup.
that was the one that wanted to know whether they should take Barkley, Achan, or Rashad Rice.
The one thing I'd say real quick is see if Chase McLaughlin is available for your kicker spot. I think he's been available in a lot of spots, and he's going to score a bunch of points again today. He scored 14 last week, and he'll score a bunch again today.
Okay. But yeah, nice lineup. I think
No
you have a good
bragging.
chance, man.
Yeah. I mean,
I like
we're
it.
talking about this as a lineup set for your championship week. Well done.
Yeah.
And there you have it. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to chime in and enjoy us today. Don't forget to subscribe. We're going to try to throw out a lot of off-season content to help prepare us for the next season next year as well. So, yeah. I don't know if
the season's just like things are just getting started for people who love Dynasty, like myself.
Are
I
you
can't wait for this week to be over so we can get back to work.
So are you done with your Homer Minute, you think, or?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. And I'll make mine short and sweet. My Steelers are toying with my emotions again. They're trying to give me hope, and I refuse to
It was
believe.
just Christmas,
dang it.
dude. It was Rudolph on Christmas. Don't get too excited.
But just saying, just that little dash of hope is if we win today, we play Baltimore next week.
I told you that
And
game was gonna be
Baltimore has
important.
nothing to play for.
Remember?
They're going to bench all their starters.
We'll win today. I
We
need you
could
guys
have
to win
10
today.
wins and might get in this
So-
playoffs.
So one
Remember,
follow-up
we'll
question.
we'll have to go back to the first episode of the season, but I remember saying some things about the matchup for the Steelers and the Ravens in Week 17. That
You were right, huh?
it feels that way because it's going to be because I remember saying that it might be important for one team and not the other. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's yeah. I'm gonna have
So
to go back.
so
and listen to
George
that.
wants to, and this is interesting. I don't know what kind of question to call this. I don't know if you would call this a pushback question or just a little bit of a back and forth here. But George is saying, if he's not shooting for the upside and shooting for safety, wouldn't Buffalo be the safer play?
Yeah. Yeah, yes, it would. And the only reason I say that is because Michael Pittman Jr. is going to play today. So if Michael Pittman Jr. hadn't played today, I would have said no. I'd say the Raiders are a smash play. They're actually just going to crush the Colts. And I'm still kind of leaning that way based on how the Raiders have been playing.
Yeah, they have been surprisingly good.
Their
and
defense,
especially on defense.
Their
yeah.
defense has been smothering, and Max Crosby
Yeah.
is just like unstoppable right now. The guy is he's an animal. The game he just had against the Chiefs on Christmas was like, if you're a Raiders fan, that was just that had to have been just a really good time to watch. So that's where I would bet my money, just based on what I've been seeing lately. I have more confidence that the Raiders will stifle Gardner Minshew in a much better way than they were able to do even against Mahomes, and they were on the road. They just beat Mahomes in Kansas City. They shut down Mahomes in Kansas City. So I don't care if Minshew has his number one wide receiver. That's still where I want to be on defense right now versus the Bills, who just struggled against Easton Stick.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that it's a very close call there between those two defenses. I can see what you're saying as far as the safety of Buffalo with a better matchup, but if I'm in my championship week, I want that team that's hot right now, and I think that's the Raiders.
Yeah. The other one I like that could be available for you, it might be available for you, is Tampa Bay. I actually like Tampa Bay. I think people.
Real today?
Oh yeah. Like if you watch so the thing is like
The Saints are playing for playoffs, though.
the Tampa Bay is going to win that division. It's we'll get to that eventually, but just like because we're talking about it right now, I'll bring it up for this person just in case we don't get to it in time for him to make a change. The Tampa Bay defense, like if that was another play, if I was on the fence, I started Green Bay, who was the hot start. They were the most expensive defense you can have on DFS last week, and I started them over Tampa Bay, and I was so close to starting Tampa Bay, and the reason I didn't was because Lawrence actually played, but Tampa Bay's defense is healthy right now. Antoine Winfield Jr. is having an all-pro season. Like they look like they're coming together. I actually really like Tampa Bay today. I think they're just going to crush the Saints.
Okay, I was feeling more of a shootout vibe in that.
And I don't think that's going to happen.
Really?
I think fantasy heads think that's going to happen because they're looking at numbers and they're not actually watching the football games. If you watch Tampa Bay and what they did to Jacksonville last week, Jacksonville's better than New Orleans. Like Jacksonville's been struggling, but they're better than New Orleans. They smashed New Orleans in New Orleans about a month ago.
I'm just saying Jacksonville's been looking bad lately.
They've been Lawrence has been hurt. That's a big problem for them. Lawrence has been hurt. They should have sat him down for a week, probably about 3 weeks ago when he injured his ankle. They should have just sat him down and let him get healthy because he hasn't been throwing the ball well. But Tampa Bay was just all over the place. They were. You forget sometimes that they have probably behind Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw, the second best linebacking core in the league with Levante David and I always forget the other ones. I always like forget one of their names because their names are similar. But they've got just like 6 or 7 studs on defense that are all healthy now, right at the right time. And the Saints they have Olave and about nothing else. Like I'd actually have be more worried about the Saints putting up points on the board today with Shaheed, because that's the one place where they struggle is if against speed. So
there you go.
But yeah, so sorry about that. But like if Tampa Bay is available, it would be Tampa Bay. Then I'd play the Raiders, and then I'd play the Bills.
All right. I think the Tampa Bay call's a little ballsy there, but definitely like your take.
Next question, Mike Charles. I think Mike's also a first-time YouTube watcher with us. If you're new, Mike, don't forget to hit that
Thanks for the
subscribe
question,
button.
guys. This is awesome. It's fun.
He's projected to lose by 18 after facing Lamb. He wants to know, start Eckler or Devontae full PPR?
Eckler. Yeah, I'm starting Eckler. I actually think Eckler's going to have a monster game today. He looked great last week.
Yeah, he did look better.
He
I
was hurt.
have to agree with that.
People have been killing Eckler, like saying he looks like he's 40, where it looked like he's carrying a piano, all the whatever jokes you want to make. But he was hurt. Yeah. He was hurt for a while, and he's starting to look healthier. He looked really good. Like he looked like the best running back again. Like for a while, it was hard to tell which running back actually had the ball in their hand unless you saw their numbers, because they all kind of looked the same. But Eckler popped off the screen again last week, so I'd be excited to start him.
So moving on, we're going to move on to my Homer Minute real quick. I'll try to make it sweet too, so we can get to the games. Rams winning 2 in a row. 2 in a row. How long ago was the Ravens?
No, I don't think so. That was
so it was Ravens, and then
Yeah.
because they won. Either way,
I'd have to look back. But you guys are in a great spot.
I think so. I think if our defense steps it up a half a notch, we're going to be the team to beat.
Well, and see, here's another thing. Real quick. The person this will help the person who's choosing for or against Barkley. You guys are also getting a scheduling advantage because you played on Thursday night, and the Giants just played on Christmas.
Yeah,
like the Giants just played a road game on Christmas. So, like traditionally, like the West Coast team traveling to the East Coast and playing in the morning is like a detriment. But the Rams have been rested. They got an extended vacation for Christmas. Like
they had to play quite a bit.
You guys, hard teams. You guys got a little break, and you have a really good the way things have played out. Like you guys are just lined up to go to the playoffs now. Like I mean, I really think the Rams are going to smoke the Giants today.
Yeah, and we need Seattle to lose, so we need Pittsburgh to do their job.
You don't need
this
Seattle
week.
to lose.
If we win out, we don't need anyone to lose.
You need nothing. You need nothing but
to
win.
clinch it this week. We need Seahawks to lose.
Okay. Yes, the Rams can clinch a playoff spot today.
Go Steelers.
So with that, we're going to move on to the games, and of course, we'll answer your questions in between the games if you guys have any. So the games are kind of our filler spot while you guys are asking questions. First up, Miami Dolphins versus the Baltimore Ravens. Miami Dolphins +3, the over-under 46.5. The money line +140, -166 if you're betting on the Ravens. Bezzy is betting on the Ravens.
Hey, Bezzy, good to see you.
Oh man, this is a really tough game to start out on.
Yeah, it is.
Like we should have started with the next game first, like a nice little toss up, a little alley oop to dunk in. But this is a tough pick.
So before we get to that,
think about it.
All right.
Yeah, you give you guys a chance to think while Randy Miller. Randy, welcome. I think this is your first time. Please subscribe.
Morning.
Chiefs, Bears, or Raiders defense?
Raiders. I like.
I was going to say Chiefs have a good matchup.
I would like the Chiefs are playing the Bengals. Browning's been good, and they have Chase today.
Oh, they're playing Bengals.
Oh,
yeah.
Chase is in today?
Chase is in.
Okay, that makes a difference.
You'll have to take a look at our update, but Chase practiced all week.
Yeah, we'll do the update in 10 minutes here.
And he was making enemies on social media from the Bengals secondary, or no, excuse me, the Chiefs secondary. Like that game could actually be good. I like Browning. Like I feel good. Like I called that one because he didn't have a great game against Pittsburgh. And I got on here in front of the camera and I was like, you know what? I think he just looks like a slightly slower Joe Burrow, but he's going to be fine. And he's been fantastic. I think yeah, I think the Chiefs are susceptible. So we'll see what happens tonight. But the Bears, I would rather play them if Ritter was still playing.
Right.
But because it's Heineke, I don't think they're just gonna dump the ball off to Bijan a lot.
Exactly.
And the Bears are terrible against receiving running backs, so I expect Bijan to score twice today.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that one's kind of a toss up there between Kansas City and Las Vegas. But if you were here just a few minutes ago, we've been talking about Las Vegas defense, and I'd probably lean that way because they're so hot.
Yeah, they've just been on fire.
All right, what do we got, Ray?
Yeah. So Red Falcon and Joy are welcome. I think this is your first time. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. He can start 2. He has Achane, Eckler, and Mixon.
Eckler and Mixon.
Achane, Eckler, Mixon.
You can't bet on Achane right now because
it's championship week. Like if you're down in points, then I'm throwing.
That's a good.
I'm throwing him in over there over Mixon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Eckler's number 1, and then safer play is Mixon. Stronger upside is Achane.
Right.
He's just got
so
that.
If it's close, then I'm leaving Achane on the bench because man, I don't want to take that risk in championship week.
If you're close, projected to win something like that,
Yeah.
and you really just need like 15 points from your running back, Mixon's more likely to get you 15. But if you need 30, Achane.
Yep.
And then Bears or Ravens defense.
Oh man.
Bears.
No, I think I'd play the Ravens defense.
I think
Okay,
Miami's
we're about to talk about that game right now, and man, I'm worried about that Miami offense. So.
Yeah, based on there's no Waddle today.
I agree.
And based on how the Cowboys played them last week, I think the Ravens have, and the way the Ravens have been playing, they've been shutting down offenses all year long. They shut down the Lions. They shut down the 49ers last week in San Francisco.
That was surprising.
Christmas. If I get to play the Ravens, and the Ravens also have an opportunity to set some defensive records as far as points allowed. I think they have an opportunity to be the first team to lead the league in, I think it's yards allowed, points allowed, and sacks.
Let me ask you guys a question on
3
this.
categories that no one has ever led the league in all 3 in the same season. So I'm betting on the Ravens defense right now.
So if a defense doesn't get fumbles, doesn't get interceptions, doesn't get sacks, how many points does the opposing team need to score in order for that defense to get 0 points?
24 something.
So
28. It's up to 27, and you still get 1 point. I think.
Okay, so and we're thinking the Falcons are going to score that much on the Bears versus Miami not scoring that much.
Yards will also get you negative points. I think it's I believe it's once you get over 350, maybe it's 400 yards.
Yeah, all depends on your scoring system. So
yeah, I'd have to go back and every scoring system is different. Like especially
it's just an element to think about.
Defense is one of the most.
Is Miami traditionally do turnovers?
It's hard to project defenses for people's specific leagues because of their scoring systems. But Baltimore, I think, is they're gonna create turnovers today.
Okay, so Baltimore's going to create.
I don't think
that's Ken Stake, and then Brian. Do you concur with that, or do you think Bears got a better defensive shot?
I think they're both good choices. I think Chicago's D has been playing really well over the second half of the season, and I think they've got a better matchup. Miami, they could have that offense really go off.
And I think the Ravens are matchup proof.
That's
the thing is, I think the Ravens, it doesn't matter. They're a top 5 play.
Man, you really made a turnaround on the Ravens.
No,
this week.
no. Their defense has been great all season. They've been doing it all season. It's just I'm still not big on their offense.
I agree there.
I'm still not big on their offense, but that Ravens defense, the up front, they're really hard to beat. They're so good, and that's why their offense is actually working too. It's because the Ravens might be the best team on both sides of the ball up front. They might have the best offensive and defensive lines in football. And that's crazy to think about because when you think of how loaded teams like San Francisco are.
Yeah.
But that Ravens defense, they're better against the run. They create more sacks. The Ravens have 5 guys with 7+ sacks on their team. It's crazy.
So leading into this game, are you just all over the Ravens then? Sounds like it.
I think so. Because I don't think the Dolphins are going to win this game. They struggled at home last week with all of their weapons against the Cowboys, who are struggling right now on defense. And the Ravens are coming. I guess if you're thinking the Ravens might have a letdown, but this is for the number 1 seed.
Yeah. There's
not going to be a letdown this week to me. I think you're going to get the best shot that both teams can possibly give. And I just don't like the Dolphins are missing teeth right now.
Yeah, and like you said, that defense is just playing really well.
And then on the
Ravens
other
right
side,
now.
it's just like the Bears' number one weakness is the Falcons' number one strength. You know, getting the ball to their running backs. Like that is the that's
I was like, you're still on that?
yeah. Well, we're talking about Ravens versus Bears.
Right.
here.
But I thought we were moving on to the game
Sorry,
here.
Game,
Ravens,
yeah.
Miami.
In the game, I'm picking the Ravens. I am going to pick the Ravens at home.
Yeah.
I'd want it, like I think the Dolphins would have more of a puncher's chance if they were at home, but the Ravens have like a actual good home field advantage. That place is going to be rocking, and
Who are you going to start for the Ravens other than Lamar?
nobody.
Just absolutely
Likely.
nobody, huh?
I'll start Likely.
Likely.
Likely's been killing it actually. Yeah, that was a mistake I made in Dynasty in that half PPR was like, and I don't need him because I have Andrews and I have McBride, but Likely was available when Andrews got hurt, and I picked him up for a second, and I was like, I'm only gonna play him like 1 week while McBride's off, so I dropped him again for somebody for like the Texans guy. That feels real bad right now, but anyway, I'd play Likely. Zay Flowers maybe.
Yeah.
If I'm in a spot for third wide receiver, there's a number of guys that I would play Zay Flowers over today. And then on the Dolphins side, like obviously you still got to play Mostert because he's just scoring touchdowns. Even in games where he's not producing a bunch of yards, he's still getting the opportunities inside the 5. Like if they're going to run the ball inside the 10-yard line, it's probably going to be with Mostert.
Yeah.
So he's just having one of those years. I think you have to start him. Obviously, Tyreek Hill, who still has a chance at 2,000 yards, which is crazy.
I feel like just something in me feels like he's going to have a big game today,
Hill?
man. Yeah.
You think so? I
That's more of a gut feeling than looking at any stats or anything else. It just feels like Tyreek is
is there any
kind of player, man.
chance that that's just some schadenfreude from you losing the semifinals with him on your team, and now you know that it doesn't matter. You're like, he'll go off now.
Hey, it does matter, man. I'm playing for third.
Then why did you drop Flacco? I got him.
Oh man, been writing Flacco for like 3 weeks.
Hey, you know what?
And I dropped him this week. I love it.
You and Matthew Berry both.
Yeah,
Yeah, Matthew Berry
it was
dropped
the obvious.
Matthew
play.
Berry dropped him and Ford. And it's funny, and I played both of them in the Iron Throne. And my match doesn't matter. My match doesn't.
So we got a question here from 773. What if Mostert is out?
If Mostert is out, H-hand to the moon, maybe. But I haven't heard anything about that.
I haven't either. That's
My
that makes me wanna
expectation,
check
like,
real quick.
we're almost to 9 o'clock, and in about 10 minutes, we'll do that. So we'll probably get through the next 2 games, and then we'll do an injury
Yeah. So
update.
are we all going Ravens?
But if Mostert is out, then H-hand is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
We're all going Ravens?
If Mostert is out, then we have to go back and revisit the H-hand versus Mixon question, because then it's obviously H-hand.
H-hand, yes.
Next up, 49ers versus the Washington Commanders. 49ers minus 14. Over under is 49.5. Minus 1,000 if you're betting on the 49ers, and plus 650 if you're betting on the Commanders.
The 49ers have got to be pissed. They've got to be pissed.
From the
According to 773, he is on IA.
IR?
I think they meant to say A.
No
IR.
way. When did that
I
happen?
am looking at it right now, and Raheem Mostert is out.
H-hand to the moon.
Wow.
You sure you don't want to take the Cooks
Breaking
versus
news.
H-hand bet?
Yeah, right?
We'll go back to that now.
Okay, so yeah, all those questions that we answered earlier, we
About
were
H-hand.
assuming that Mostert was in.
Yeah, go H-hand.
Now that we know he was out with news in the last 10 minutes here,
Because Wilson looks terrible. Wilson's gotten the ball
yeah.
a couple of times in the last few weeks, and he looks old.
In our defense, we do injury report at 9, which is in 5 minutes. So we would have had the answer to that question in 5 minutes.
Yep.
Next question from. Let me hit our question.
So here,
button.
I'm gonna go through a start. I'm gonna go through one of my starter sit decisions right now because of the H-hand news.
Let's do the
Okay?
question real quick first. Rogelio, morning guys. Zamir White or H-N full PPR? Z
well,
White.
now it's H-hand.
Now
I love Zamir White. Like,
I mean,
how can you
hold on.
bench
Let's
one of those
hold
two?
on. I mean, let's calm down. He's still playing at Baltimore, so this might also be like for anybody like who was questioning the Baltimore defense. This also might be one of those things where like Miami's just conceding this game. They're not gonna play Waddle, and now they're not going to play Mostert, and we didn't even know Mostert was a question.
Right.
I didn't see him get hurt last week. I watched the whole game against the Cowboys. Players get nicked up and banged up all the time. So he definitely didn't have like an injury where it was like questionable if he was going to play the game. He finished that game. So I don't know exactly what happened. So it seems more like a rest thing. You know what I'm saying?
In a game this big, I don't know, man.
Rogelio, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe.
I don't know, man. I'm kind of getting that feeling. I'm kind of getting the feeling now like Baltimore just might roll them. So I would probably still start Zamir White over Achane.
Really?
Yeah, because what he's been doing. Zamir White's been awesome. Without Josh Jacobs, he's been Josh Jacobs.
If you just need to make sure that you get 10 points out of that spot, then I'd go Zamir White.
Yeah.
But I think I'd have
Zamir White is
trouble sitting Achane.
Achane is a ceiling play, and Zamir White is a better floor play. Again, this is like just like that mixing question. You know, I think I kind of still think it is like Achane. His floor has come up a little bit, but I still I don't know. I'm not ready to just go like Achane's top 5 start because he wouldn't be. Whereas Zamir White is a top 12 start to me. Top 10.
Next question. We have Mateo. I think Mateo is also a first timer.
Welcome.
Don't forget to hit subscribe. Warren, Chandler, or Shaheed?
Not Jalen Warren. Jalen Warren has been struggling the last month. I would play Chandler. Chandler is going to Shaheed has a chance to score twice today. I think.
If you really need to score for an extra 40 points or something
if you want 20, play Chandler.
Yeah.
And if you want 40, play Shaheed. Because he could do that. Yeah. Chandler's going to get his ceiling is going to be like 25. He'll score once and he'll have 80-ish yards and 2 catches.
Yeah, so my order would actually be Chandler, then Warren, then Shaheed. But if you really need that crazy game, like if you're rolling dice and you just need 30 points and nothing else will do, then Shaheed has a chance.
And I actually think that Warren's at the bottom of the list for me. But
okay.
But I think we agree at the top of the list, Chandler.
If you guys are new, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for the subscription, Rogelio. One last question. Ayuk, Flowers, Evans, and Olave, bench 1.
Rogelio. I think it's pronounced Rogelio.
Rogelio? Oh, I'm sorry. You're probably right, actually.
Okay, so what was the last one? It was
last question. Bench 1. I think it's right. Yeah, bench 1. Ayuk, Flowers, Evans, and Olave.
Flowers.
Oh boy, bench one.
Yeah,
full
PPR.
Flowers.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's not hard.
Okay,
that's funny. He'll score twice today.
And I love the other three.
Yeah.
The other three options there. So yeah.
Yeah, the one is the only it would be between Ayuk and Flowers if you had any kind of a question, just because Brandon Ayuk averages 6 catches for 60 yards on the road, whereas at home he averages 115 yards, but he scores a lot. So I expect the 49ers to just roast the Commanders today, and I wouldn't want to bench any of my 49ers because it's hard, because it is hard to predict which one of them is going to score twice every week.
For sure.
Any other thoughts on the 49ers Commanders game?
I thought it was going to be more interesting with Jacoby Brissett starting. I thought that would have made.
Is he hurt, right?
Yes.
Brissett is out, so now you should be
now
off
you're
McLaurin.
Back to Howell. Yeah, I thought McLaurin was going to be a killer play this week.
I did too. I was all over that. Yeah.
And now, DFS wise, I'm not championship week, but DFS wise, I'm going with Curtis Samuel. Now I think he's gonna for 4,400. He's a steal now, whereas before I was all over McLaurin everywhere. But Howell is back, unfortunately. The only question mark I have in this game is if the Commanders can keep up at all.
And I don't think they will be able to.
Yeah, it might just be a blowout, and it might just be a first half game, but we'll see. I'll take the Niners.
Yeah, Niners.
Thank you to all our new subs, Mateo, Rogelio, and Steven Grice. Thank you very much for the new subs.
We appreciate it. Looking forward to talking to you.
Yeah, especially during the off season and stuff. We're not going to be every week during the off season, but we will have some key weeks, and
we'll be going to the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, so. and yeah, you're going to enjoy it, guys.
So next up, I think we'll do one more game, then we'll hit the injury report. Just give it a little bit of time here. Arizona Cardinals versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Arizona Cardinals 12.5. Over unders 48. The money line plus 500 if you're betting on the Cardinals, minus 700 if you're betting on the Eagles.
So I'm hoping the Cardinals win, but there's no way I'm picking them.
Right.
I'm picking the Eagles. Also, like what people should know, DeAndre Swift. He should have scored probably 2 more times last week. And it's obvious that the Eagles are feeding him the ball right now, and the boy is playing for a contract. So he's top 10 to me.
He's a big player
actually. I mean, and the Cardinals are the worst rushing defense in football. So it's like it's really just a question of whether you think DeAndre Swift is actually going to like not get tackled at the 1 yard line, and that's where I'm going to be today. Like I love playing DeAndre Swift today.
Hurts and Swift are just killer plays. I think AJ Brown has potential for a good game too. I mean, you're all over the Eagles, and then on the other side,
Trey McBride, baby.
Exactly. It's all about Trey McBride.
Tight end 1.
He's really impressive to watch.
He's so much fun to watch.
He's pulled off some amazing plays.
I'm happy that he had kind of a down. I'm actually kind of hoping that he's a little down the last couple of weeks, you know,
so he doesn't get too pumped up for next year.
Because I can't wait to offer somebody Sam Laporta for McBride in a first. I can't wait. This week in Dynasty, once this day is over, I am sending that trade off. So, but the Eagles are a poor matchup they are poor against tight ends. They are a great matchup for tight ends. So I actually do expect Trey McBride to have an excellent day today. And I said tight end 1, and that's a little, bit of a teaser. He will be in my DFS lineup for sure.
And Kyler, you can play if you need to. And then past that, I don't really want to start anybody out there at all.
Connor. You got to start. No, you start Connor every week. Don't even. I mean, you're like seriously look at his numbers.
But this is championship week.
Yeah.
Like
start. If this is championship week
you
and you have Connor on your roster, you're probably there because he got you there. Like scoring 20 points a game. He is delivering over the last 6 weeks. He's just crushing it since he came back from injury, and now he's catching the ball again.
You're not
too.
scared of that matchup at all.
Nope. Don't care. Do not care who James Conner's playing against. I am starting James Conner as a top 10 start every single week.
All right, let's move on to the injury report. Let's go. Let's hear it.
All right. Let me bring it up real quick here. All right. Well, like we said, Mostert is out. That's the big news of the day. Quarterbacks, we've got Lawrence out and Brissett out, unfortunately there. Kyler Murray is in, if there was any question. Zach Moss is out. Josh Jacobs is out. That's another big one. So Zamir White, start him up. Deontay Foreman is out. Alvin Kamara is in. Kenneth Walker is expected to play. Pacheco is expected to play. That's actually kind of surprising, right? I thought he was
I expected him to play.
Okay. And
good play today too. Good, strong play today. Like people were hoping Pacheco would be out so they could be all in on CEH, but that's just not going to work. Pacheco's in. So, and the Bengals have a terrible rush defense. So,
wide receivers, Jalen Waddle, as we know, he's out. Darnell Mooney is out. Zay Jones is out. Flowers is in. Puka Nacua is in. Michael Pittman, important there, is in. Wan'Dale Robinson is in.
I like Wan'Dale today.
DK Metcalf is expected to play.
What's his Judy? His injury is a leg injury.
I'd have to look it up.
Okay, it doesn't say. Okay,
doesn't say it right here.
Okay, sorry.
Jerry Judy, who cares? Expected to play. Marvin Mims not expected to play. Jamar Chase. Game time decision.
Cortland Sutton. Is he on there? Is he just out? He's not even on there because we already know he's out. So that actually is news then with the Mims thing.
Yeah.
Because one of my favorite DFS dart throw play today, and if you need a spot start somewhere, Brandon Johnson is a great start today. Like every time he's gotten opportunities.
And who is he?
He's wide receiver for the Broncos.
Okay. I'm like, what?
Wide receiver for the Broncos. He's only 25 too, so he's a good pickup in Dynasty as well if you can get him. Because he has been the most productive wide receiver when he's gotten opportunities for the offense. If you go back and you look at the beginning of the season when they had injuries to Judy wasn't playing a lot. Brandon Johnson was scoring. I think he's got 4 or 5 touchdowns this year, and he's only played in a handful of games. He scored the 2-point conversion to tie the game, or excuse me, he scored the first 2-point conversion to get them within striking distance, and then he scored the touchdown that tied the game. Like he's a playmaker. I like him. I like to bet on him, and he's in my DFS lineup today.
There you go. Let's see what else. Jordan Addison is expected to play. Dontavian Wicks is questionable, and
Still
Christian
questionable?
Watson
That's
will
rough.
never play because he's on my stupid team.
So
I told you
Sorry,
not to draft
Marquise
him.
Brown and Juju both placed on IR. Tight ends: Michael Mayer out, Hunter Henry out, Cole Kmet in.
Hunter Henry being out is big news.
and I think the consensus is Raiders defense is a good pickup this week.
The Raiders defense is a good pickup, and if Hunter Henry is out, actually that makes things more difficult for the question on Buffalo. Whoever had that question, because that's good for someone who wants to play the Buffalo defense.
Okay.
No Hunter Henry.
So that's it for the injury report. Next game up, LA Rams versus the New York Giants. LA Rams -6.5, over under 43.5. Money line's -278 if you're betting on the Rams, and +225 if you're betting on the Giants.
And this is a quick one too.
Yeah, we talked a little about this earlier, and we really like the Rams. We like what they're doing on offense and defense. They really feel like they're coming together. They're going to be a good, dangerous playoff
I
team.
think they're going to beat the Lions. And I think they're gonna meet up with the Lions. And we didn't even talk about like the implications of that matchup, how crazy it is that Matt Stafford might lead the Rams into Detroit to play against Jared Goff and the Lions. But yeah, I think I said that last week, and I think it's lining up that way. Like if the Rams win out, if everybody were to just win out, the Rams would be going to Detroit for the wild card.
That'd be fun.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
It's gonna happen.
there you go. Anything else to really talk about in this game that we haven't talked about
I
already?
play Puka over Cooper Kupp, and
Really?
and that is a decision. Like I made that decision like 3 times this week, and like it's just real quick for my Rams fan buddy here. I made 8 of my 10 ESPN League finals. In every single one of them, I like or Kyron Williams and Puka Nacua. They are on one or both is on every roster.
It's crazy how young this team is too. It's like, oh
Yep.
my goodness, next year's going to be lights out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
as
gonna
long
be
as
fun.
Stafford can.
If
stay
Cup has
healthy.
another if Cup has another like B+ A- season in him, absolutely, they'll just destroy people next year. It's gonna be fun. They're gonna they can load up on their offense and defensive line this offseason and be a real problem for people next year. Yeah, so we're all
I'll take
taking
the
the Rams. Yeah, we're all taking the Rams on the road. We also like the Rams also have rest on their side versus the Giants. So,
So who's a better start, Barkley or Zamir White?
oh boy, oh boy.
That's a championship week decision,
Isn't
right
it
there,
right
man.
there? And I think,
man.
I honestly think I would be on Zamir White because I think that what the Giants actually do well lines up poorly against what the Rams do well on defense. So I just don't
I
think.
think Zamir White is probably the better play, but man, you got to have some big balls. to
And
sit
and
Barkley
so and here's what
down
and I
in
think here's what we
championship
both
week.
agree on probably like the one more likely to score 20 is probably Zamir White, and the only one that's going to give you a chance to score 40 is Barkley.
That's true too. Yeah. But yeah, White's gonna be more consistent. I
But
think.
and if Wandale was out today, I'd rather play Barkley because he's their little gadget guy. He gets the ball. He takes some carries away from Barkley, and he gets all those little bubble screens and stuff like that. And when he isn't in the lineup, Barkley gets a lot more catches.
Rams are going to keep the Giants' offense off the field. Barkley's not going to get that many touches.
I don't think so either. I think the Rams are just going to punish them all day.
There it is. Next up, New England Patriots versus the Buffalo Bills. New England Patriots +14.5.
That's
Over
not fair. That
unders.
ain't right, dude. That ain't right. The Bills are not beating anybody by 14 points right now.
So take the points.
Take
and
the points.
Patriots. Over unders 40 +675 if you're betting on the Patriots, -1050 if you're betting on the Bills.
And the Patriots beat them earlier this season.
Yeah.
So the 14 points is ridiculous.
It
That's
is
the most
too much.
ridiculous line of the day. That's crazy. It should be like 6.5.
I am taking the Bills though.
Oh yeah, I'm going to take the Bills at home. But man, I gotta say, it's so much fun watching Zeke play football still. Like I got like, and I mean, I'm talking about every part of it. Like he's just he has an ability that were kind of it's funny because I'm sure he learned this from Emmett, being a cowboy for so long, but his ability to fall forward and get an additional half a yard to a yard by reaching, like he gets chunks of yards, and he very rarely goes backwards, and he never misses pass protection blocks. Like you see, you watch so many running backs like just flailing at defensive ends because they didn't see where he was coming from, or whatever, pass rushers. And then when you watch Zeke, he always goes exactly to the right hole, and stuffs the guy, and it's so much fun to watch. And what did I tell you last week? He was never and I've said this a couple of times, he was never going to juke people out. He was never going to make people miss. He could outrun you, he could run you over, and he could jump over you. And how did he score last week?
and if you didn't catch it, Ken likes Zeke.
Hey,
go ahead. What's that question?
And also we watched Tony Pollard get rejected at the half-yard line by a guy who was he wasn't even big. The guy wasn't even big.
So now we got 2 questions in the queue. First off, welcome, Ryan. I think this is your first time. If it's your first time, please subscribe. Joining us on YouTube. Chandler or Thielen, full PPR?
Chandler.
Yeah.
Second question, Nico Collins as a solid flex this week.
I love Nico this week.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Stroud is back, and we still got
good matchup.
Tank Dell. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Love Nico.
I'm like Nico's in some of my DFS lineups. Like I'm really digging him this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like Thielen. I do like Thielen this week. Jacksonville's pass defense has been pretty bad. It's just that there's going to be no Trevor Lawrence, so I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of scoring in this game. I actually think this is going to be the worst game to watch on the day. So I don't want any part of this game other than like pieces that you have to start. Like on the Jaguar side, you have to start Travis Etienne because of the matchup. But I don't want to play Ridley today. I don't want to play Evan Engram today. I don't want to, and on the other side, I don't want to play Adam Thielen either, just because I just don't think there's going to be very much scoring. And the Panthers will, if you're not going to score, they won't score.
And Chandler might fall in the end zone.
And yes, and Chandler might, and the Green Bay defense has been playing poorly. Anybody who started them last week in an A+ matchup against the Panthers was very sad. And they're actually going to be worse this week because they're not going to have Jair Alexander, and they're missing their best linebacker. I can't remember his name right now, but I know that's true. So I actually would rather play Vikings offensive players for sure.
Next up, New Orleans Saints versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Get him a beer, dude.
Yeah, no kidding.
Baker deserves it.
Saints
Baker
plus
is balling.
Saints plus 2. And
everybody's on Joe Flacco's nuts right now. Sorry.
Let him finish.
Saints plus 2.5. Over-unders at 42. Money line's plus 124 and minus 148 for the Buccaneers. As you guys can tell, Ken's really excited. Love the energy.
I love the Buccaneers right now. I love watching them play right now.
Yeah, they're a fun, scrappy team. You know what I mean? They're probably going to squeak into the playoffs, and they might even get a playoff win.
They won't get a playoff win if they have to play the Cowboys. That's for sure. But
all your biases coming out in the last 5 minutes. I love it.
But like I said, their defense is priming right now, and that's been the weak part of their team. They've been able to score points against everybody all year long, and against the Jaguars last week, they were dominant. That was the best performance of the week by any team, was what they did to the Jaguars last week. They absolutely dominated that game, and it was for 3.5 quarters. They were going for it on 4th down, up 24-0. They were just sticking it to them. Yeah. It was fun to watch. Like, they looked good. And Baker Mayfield, he looks like a dangerous man right now.
He does.
He looks like
man with nothing to lose.
He still has the same limitations that we've talked about. He still doesn't throw the ball very well to the outside. He throws a great deep ball. He's very good at. He's been very good at taking what the defense has given him this year. So checking the ball down to Rachaad White. That's why Rachaad White is top 5 play every week. Sorry, we got a question?
Yeah, we do. From Quinn Green, who's, I think, a first-time YouTuber on our channel. Don't forget to subscribe, Quinn. Question, DeMarcus Robinson or Jaden Reed for a flex full PPR?
I
man,
I think you got to go with Jaden Reed there. DeMarcus has been having a
He's
good
on a
little
heater.
run here.
Yeah, he's
but,
on a heater.
But it's because of touchdowns.
Well,
and he could very well
it
get another
was
one
to
today.
start.
but-
It was to start because of touchdowns, but over the last couple weeks, they've actually just they've had him on the field all the time, and he's completely wiped out Tutu Atwell.
I agree with that. But Tutu Atwell, when the other two big receivers
Wasn't
are
getting
healthy, wasn't getting that much.
Well,
so, and I think that's the same with
he
DeMarcus.
actually was still getting like 5 targets a game, and now they've all gone to Robinson, and Robinson's just been super efficient with them. Like,
But you do agree with me that
I
Reed...
do. I do.
Okay, yeah.
I do.
Reed's the way to go.
I do it and especially if Wicks doesn't play.
All right, what do we got?
2 questions in the queue from Brandon Dupree and Gavin Moeller. I think they're both first-time YouTube watchers.
Nice. What's up, guys?
Please subscribe and help us out. So, first question by Brendan. Goddard or Everett?
Dallas Goedert or Gerald Everett.
Goddard. I knew I was saying that wrong. Goddard, yeah.
I want to lean towards Gerald Everett because of the matchup and because of injuries. Because there's no Keenan Allen, there's no Josh Palmer, and he's just going to be their number one target.
And I agree, and it's a good matchup. But you've got Easton Stick throwing the ball.
He's playing well. Like he played. If you watch the game against the Bills, like he was night and day better. And actually, I hadn't thought about this, but his first performance, we didn't know the whole week that Herbert wasn't going to play. Because he got hurt. So he didn't play well coming in as a backup, but with a whole week of preparation, he played really well. He ran the offense really well.
And it was Everett or who?
Goddard.
Goddard.
And it's Goddard versus the Cardinals, who are the worst rushing defense in the league. The Eagles are going to boat race them.
I think the floor play is Goddard. I think if you just need to make sure you get some points out of your tight end
You want to get
position,
8 points from your tight end. Play
you're
Goddard.
going with Goddard.
You want to get
That's the safe
15.
play.
You play Gerald Everett.
Yeah, if you need to shoot for the moon, if you need that big score, Everett.
Well, and also championship week, player more likely to score twice, Gerald Everett.
Okay, next question. Russ,
their
we
only
see you,
weapon.
Russ. We're going to get to your question. If you look, I think your first time on our channel, don't forget to subscribe. But right now we are on Gavin's question. I'm in the championship. James Conner or Devontae Adams, full PPR?
James Conner.
Yeah, we've talked about that a little as we've gone on here. Our trepidation with Devontae Adams,
and if you're asking, honestly,
Connor's just steady.
And honestly, if you're asking Conner versus Adams, that's a flex question, and you're probably starting somebody in the running back spot over Conner who shouldn't be there.
Well, honestly,
that's my opinion.
It
That's
just
my
shows
opinion.
why you're in the championship.
Yes, your team
man.
must
You've
be
got
loaded.
Your team.
Yeah. I'd be interested
great.
to know who his two running backs are over Conner.
Gavin, if you're still out there, let us know who your 2 running backs are. Rust, he wants to know. He needs to start 2 and bench 1. Barkley, Taylor, or Achane?
Ooh, yeah. I'm based on Achane getting the. Oh, that's really tough. I think it's between Achane and Barkley.
To sit.
Yeah, I think you're playing Taylor.
Well, then to me, then it's Achane and Taylor. Then I'd
that's
have trouble sitting. God, these questions, man. You guys have some amazing teams.
It's championship week.
Championship week. This is great.
Yeah,
This is so
we're
much fun. So to me, it's between there's no Zach Moss today. Jonathan Taylor is he's going to get the bulk of the work with Michael Pittman in. They're more likely to have opportunities to score. Opportunities to score. I think he's going to have more opportunities to score than Achane or Barkley. So that'd be my number 1. And then, just based on what we've seen over the last month, I would rather bet on Barkley than Achane. I would.
Okay, and I'm going to go with the matchup on this one. And yeah, I'm actually, I guess I'm just a fan of Achane. Achane getting the ball that many times.
It's funny because I'm the one who owns him in Dynasty. So
and see, I don't love him in Dynasty because I think the kid's going to be on the injury report a lot.
He's another
when
sell
he's
for
healthy.
Me.
In a game like this,
this is actually fantastic.
It's gonna be good.
Because I hope he has I hope he has a monster game today. I hope Achane goes absolutely ballistic today. I'm selling him tomorrow. The Dynasty trades.
What's our next question?
So, Gavin, just giving you guys a heads up, we have Mateo with another question, but I'm going to go ahead and give you guys fill in Gavin's bench or running backs. He has CMC and D Hen.
Oh, okay. Oh, so Henry. I would actually start Connor over Henry for sure. Like Henry is a questionable one to me because they're playing at Houston, who just delivered his worst fantasy performance of his career. So
are you starting one of those others over?
That's the question. It would be more of a question to me between Henry and Adams.
Right, and you're going to take Henry there.
And I think I lean Henry.
Yeah.
But he's also scored 7 touchdowns in like the last 4 weeks. So at some point, it's he's not going to score twice.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like he's probably gotten you here, and you're super excited. And it's tough to sit him. But I think if I wanted 10 points, I'm playing Henry. If I need 25, I'm going to play Devontae Adams.
All right.
All right, we see your questions, guys. We got 3 in the queue. Mateo, do you start K. Herbert with Foreman out or over Chandler, Shaheed, Warren, Bryan, or Robinson?
I would rather have Herbert, I think. He got all of the actual rushing work in the game last week against the Cardinals. Roshan got the receiving work. I don't love, but if I'm playing one of those guys, I'm probably playing Chandler.
So you're saying Herbert or Chandler is basically what
Herbert or Chandler is the question, I think, because the other guys are Shaheed, Warren, and Brian Robinson, and I want no part of Brian Robinson, no part of Warren based on what he's done in the last month, right. And like Shaheed is a maybe. So like Shaheed, for me, it's like Shaheed and Chandler are the guys who have the best chance to score you 20 points. Herbert is like the most guarantee for 10.
Yeah, I'd go Chandler there myself.
I would. That's what I would do. I would play Chandler.
And then we have Kenny Stay Trill, I think is a first timer. Kenny, please subscribe. Thank you. That helps us out.
You got a great name, buddy. Great name.
Samir White or Eckler, full PPR.
Ooh, that's so good. That's so good.
Man.
Man.
And we've been talking how we just as the hours gone by, we've been talking and we have confidence in Eckler.
Yeah, and also Denver's kind of falling apart right now.
If we think Eckler has it back together, I think we have to go with Eckler there. But man, White has such a nice matchup. It's tough. That's a great decision to have. I think you're great.
If you
either
look
way.
at what Ezekiel Elliott did to the Broncos last week through the air, I just don't see how you could not play Eckler.
There you go.
Next question is by Brendan. Had Trevor Lawrence, now that he's out, Kyler, Geno, Stick, or Browning?
Oh, Kyler.
Stick. Kyler, Geno. To me, that's between Kyler and Geno.
Yeah, agreed. I agree.
And
Geno's at home, but the Eagles are 32nd against wide receivers in fantasy. The Cardinals don't have any wide receivers, but they got Trey McBride.
Right.
So and Kyler is also the only guy who's going to run.
Yeah.
So I would lean Kyler.
Yep. Kyler and Geno.
And also like Kyler was my quarterback. I was going to ride to a championship. That was my plan. He scored 24.5 points last week in kind of in a poor matchup at Chicago.
In a bad game.
Yeah, and didn't have a great game.
Exactly.
So if Kyler has a good game, he can win you your championship.
Yep. Kyler, get it done.
I would have started Kyler over Trevor Lawrence anyway. Actually, to be honest with you, I would have.
I agree with that.
All right, so picks, Saints or Bucks. Back to the game.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
All
Take
day.
the Bucks. I think that has potential for a shootout, but
I don't think so. Tampa Bay.
We disagree on
that.
that.
We're going to move on.
Tampa
We're going
to
move on. Tennessee Titans versus Houston Texans. Tennessee Titans is +5. Over-under is 44. +195 on the Titans. -238 on the Texans.
Man, for as good as these matchups are, I don't think we're having a lot of disagreements today. Because we're picking the Texans, I think.
We haven't had a single disagreement.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And I don't think we're going to have a lot of them, but the games are going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, they're really tight games. Like this one, I can totally see Tennessee winning, but
agreed.
But what do I think is going to happen? I think C.J. Stroud
I'm
is
really
going to come
excited to
back
watch
in there and look good.
C.J. Stroud versus Will Levis today, because this is going to happen for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this division actually, like, because you got Levis, you got Lawrence, you got Stroud, like.
Wow. So, we're going to move on to the Raiders?
Let's do it.
Okay, Raiders versus the India. Ooh, we got a question, but let me read this. Well, let's do the question first.
The other quarterback.
Let's do the question first. Wait, hold on.
Anthony Richardson.
What's the stream schedule like? The stream schedule, we try to do Sunday. So far this season, we do Sunday mornings. We're gonna miss next Sunday morning, but we do Sunday mornings. Next season is still up in the air. We're going to probably
we'll figure that out.
We'll figure it out. Yeah,
you guys will be with us. We'll let you know when the next episode is going to be every time we're at the end of the show.
So just hit that notifications. I like the idea of being your guys' pregame show before the games start.
Thank you.
So we'll see. Off season is going to be just kind of a crapshoot. I think we're going to get together as much as possible and just talk.
We'll definitely be here throughout the playoffs, and we'll talk about. And we're definitely going to be with you for rookies. I'm a huge Dynasty fan, so we'll be talking about that. Brian's now getting into Dynasty too, so.
Yeah, we still got DraftKings lineups to share with you guys. So even though your fantasy seasons are over, we still have DraftKings lineups.
Yep.
Next up, Raiders versus the Colts. Raiders plus 3.5. Over unders at 42. Plus 154 if you're betting on the Raiders. Minus 185 if you're betting on the Colts.
This is a good game. Again, like all the others, this is going to be a good game. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I think the Raiders are going to win. They're that team right now. They're getting hot at the right time, and they're looking like fun.
Dude, how crazy would it be if the Raiders actually won out and the Chiefs lost out?
I kind of want to see it.
I kind of want to see it too, and I'll save this for when we get to actually talking about Patrick Mahomes. But I have things to say about that. But yeah, I'm with you. I think the Raiders are going to win. I love what they're doing right now, and I mean. Sorry, babe. My girl she hates the Raiders. She loves to hate the Raiders. She hates the Raiders, and but it's good for the league when the Raiders are good. It's like they're not the Cowboys are like the Yankees, but the Raiders are also a very hateable team. So when the Raiders are good, people love to hate. People love to pay attention and see if they're gonna fail. They're like the Dodgers.
Next up, Carolina Panthers versus Jaguars. Plus 3.5 if you're betting on the Panthers. Over under 37.5. Money lines at plus 160 for the Panthers and minus 192 for the Jags.
This is the game I don't want to pick.
Right?
How do you like? I'm gonna pick the Jaguars at home.
I'm actually going to take Carolina.
Me too.
They're the hot team right now. They're playing hard. They've got something to play. Well, they don't have anything to play for, but
the Jaguars do.
Right.
The Jaguars do. The Jaguars still.
But they've been playing like crap. They lost their quarterback.
They're finally sitting him down. And like I said, they should have done that like 3 weeks ago. But I think they're actually going to get a more solid performance out of Beathard because if you've been watching Lawrence, like he hasn't been able to step into his throws. Like, if the pocket hasn't been perfect for him the last couple of weeks, he can't make his throws.
Actually, I'm going to switch I'm going to go to Jags. I'm going to let you lone wolf.
And just because like he's out, and I think they're going to lean on ETN, and the Panthers are the second worst rush defense in the league behind Arizona. And if the Panthers were at home, it'd be fun to pick them. But I
just can't have any faith in the Jags right now, and without Trevor Lawrence, it does just feel like a lost cause.
I think you got a good ground to stand on.
And I love Josh Allen.
Next up, Atlanta Falcons versus
they have their own Josh Allen. He's going to be one of the highest paid free agents this year. Actually, edge rusher. He's awesome. If you're not familiar with the Jaguars version of Josh Allen, number 41, dude can play. He's fun to watch.
Next up, we have the Atlanta Falcons versus the Chi-Town Bears. Plus 3 on the Falcons, over unders 39. Plus 130 is the money line on the Falcons, and minus 155 on the Bears.
I tried so hard to get Drake London this week off the half PPR Dynasty League. The guy who made the finals, who's playing against my opponent from last week, he has Drake London. And so I was trying to sell him on and it's funny because he didn't I tried to sell him Henry, Brandon Cooks, and a second for Drake London. And he's in his finals, and he's got CMC, he's got Dak, but he's up against CeeDee Lamb, and he's up against Amon St. Brown and Laporta, and yeah. So and I'm sure he's probably wishing he had taken that deal now, especially after Cook scored last night, because there's no way that Drake London's going to put up more than 14.5 PPR points this week, and he could have had Drake London and Derrick Henry. So take that, KC Andy.
But as far as the game goes,
They're going to play a game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's interesting. I actually think this is the second
not
best game.
interesting to watch, but like
there's nothing that Arthur Smith produces that is interesting. Okay.
I think I'm going to pick Chicago here. They're the home team, right?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, this comes down to who's the home team for me. Very hard to pick, and honestly, don't really want to. These are two kind of bad teams. Just seeing who's the worst.
Yeah.
Next up, a very fun game: Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Seattle Seahawks. Pittsburgh +4. Over/under is 40.5. +170 if you're betting on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and -205 if you're betting on the Seahawks.
And I feel like I'm going to get my lone wolf game here.
You're going Seahawks?
I am going to pick the Seahawks at home.
Well, I figured you guys would both pick the Seahawks.
I don't think
at
he's
home.
going to because he wants them to lose.
I need them to lose.
That's true.
I'm going with my heart.
I'm going with my heart too, man. I'm giving my Steelers.
Yeah, I think this is the JSN coming out.
This
is
the one where this
one
game gives me hope. Maybe.
Don't anybody who's got JSN find a way to get him into your lineup. I think this is the game where he's going to break out.
Next up, the Bengals versus Kansas City Chiefs. Bengals +7. Over/under is 45.5. +270 if you're betting on the Bengals. -340 if you're betting on the Chiefs.
Got to go Chiefs here, but running game's going to be interesting. Pacheco is in there now. I don't know how healthy he is, but
it's just been a shoulder injury, so I think it's a pain tolerance thing.
Okay.
Where are they playing?
They're playing at home. They're in Kansas City. Yeah. So I like the Chiefs to win today. What's the line on this one?
7.
7. Yeah, I think that's probably too much.
Yeah, I'd be tempted to take the points there.
What I was gonna say is I'm having so much fun watching people go, "What's wrong with Patrick Mahomes?" Because if you paid attention to this podcast, I've been telling you for 2 years that this is coming because he's Patrick Mahomes is Brett Favre 2.0. And he's going to have this period of his career where he's going to turn the ball over a lot. He's leading the league in turnovers.
And why do you think that is? Do you think it's his development, or do you think
it's not development? He's a great player.
Right.
Like he's to me, like over the last 30, 35 years, it's as far as arm talent, it's him, Aaron Rodgers, and Brett Favre. In terms of just guys that are next level, and before that is Dan Marino. In terms of we're talking about the best arm in the league, and the thing that's and to me the way he plays the game, he's just reckless. He's loose with the football, and it has worked out well for him so far. And the same thing was true at the beginning of Brett Favre's career. If you look at the beginning of Brett Favre's career, his bullet passes just always seem to find his guys' hands, and his guys always just seem to catch him, and they'd have those crazy. And I remember those, the John Madden reporting. They talk about those crazy stories about he was breaking guys' hands and stuff like that. Like his receivers had broken hands all the time. And then what happened was their offense changed a little bit. Players moved out, left for free agency. They got traded, got hurt, whatever. He lost a bunch of receivers to injury. Brett Favre did. And those balls started bouncing off of players,
and that's kind of where we are now.
And started getting turnovers and and the crazy decisions where he would be rolling out and he'd just fire a pass all the way to the other side of the field, which Mahomes does a lot of. They get picked off instead, and so and Mahomes is that doesn't change the fact that he's probably the greatest quarterback of his generation. That's gonna be true, and he might win another Super Bowl. But I think it's gonna be a while.
Not this year, huh?
I think.
What was our?
I think it's gonna be a while. I don't think we thought it was over this fast. It's crazy how fast it ends, but I think it's over.
Question by M. Ibarra. I think I've seen that name before, but if I haven't, don't forget to subscribe. Question is Bijan, Zamir, or Saquon?
Bijan,
Zamir, or Saquon?
It's a great place to be, but I'd play Bijan.
Yeah, it's you have some very good choices there.
Because Bijan's playing with Taylor Heineke, and if you watched the game last week,
he did get peppered with targets.
He's going to get peppered with targets, and the Bears are the worst team in the league against pass-catching running backs. They gave up a 30-yard receiving touchdown to Emery DeMarcado last week.
Yeah,
I don't know if you saw that play. When I saw that play, that's what I thought of was they're going to have to play Bijan, and Bijan's just going to destroy them.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with Bijan there. I think it actually goes Bijan, then White, and then Saquon, which is kind of crazy to say and really hard to do during your championship week. But you obviously have an amazing team, so good luck, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up we have the LA Chargers versus.
Well, actually, it's definitely DraftKings time. It's a little past 9:30.
Okay, sure. All right, we're gonna switch it up. We're gonna go to DraftKings before we do
I
the
think
last
I'll lead
two
off
games.
since I won. So I like my cash lineup a lot this week. I feel like, hold on.
There were a lot of strong plays out there this week.
You know what? Actually, I need to make a change because
Okay.
I forgot I made this before we found out Jamar Chase was going to play.
So I'll go ahead and go first with the cash lineup. I have quarterback Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, Z White, Tyreek Hill, Q Johnston, D Slayton, Jay Johnson, flex is Adam Thielen, and my defense is the Bengals.
Wow, so you got some very nice top end stuff. I mean, you're starting Hill and McCaffrey there. That's impressive with Purdy. I mean, your low end there is going to be a little rough, but man, if that high end hits, we're going to get buried. McCaffrey, I feel, is somebody that you really just kind of have to have in your cash lineup this week. If you're not going to play him, I sure hope it's in a tournament because, man, cash, he's just a smash play. So, of course, I've got him in there. I went with Derek Carr as my quarterback. Like I say, Ken disagrees with me, but I really think that New Orleans Tampa Bay game can be pretty high scoring. And at Carr's price, he really doesn't have to do that much to pay off. DeAndre Swift, I think, is a smash play again. Hard to leave him out of any lineup that you're going to make on DFS this week. We talked about Nico Collins a little bit earlier. I think he's going to be really good. We've got Stroud back, and Nico is the main target. He's going to get peppered. Christian Olave is my hookup with Carr. Another one that's just hard to leave off any
Real
lineup
quick,
this week.
I knew on Friday you were going to play Derek Carr and Chris Olave today.
The funny thing, and I know what you're referring to, me listening to other podcasts, but I tell you what, I tried
There
were
like three good options, and I knew, but knowing you and how you like to build your lineups, I knew that's where you were going.
Yeah, I do like to save money where I can on the
quarterbacks
yeah.
specifically. Yeah.
Let me just finish my lineup real quick.
Sorry,
Justin Watson is my dart throw. Don't love having him there, but
how much was he?
He's 3,400, so almost the Stone Min. So he's out there enough right now with the injuries ahead of him that and Kansas City's really going to need to throw the ball today. So I think that's going to be there. Another punt play here is my tight end. I'm going with Smythe.
He's funny.
This guy is only 2,900, and Miami's got weapons down. You know what I mean? He got some targets.
He's had a good month.
He had like 7 or 8 targets last week. And
over the last month, he's been consistent.
He's
and
necessary to the offense right now. Agreed. So for 2,900, I think he's a steal. Zamir White, we've talked about. Got to do it. And then Broncos D, I think, is one of the better DSTs to play this week.
I was on them too. I just made a change right now because I had to make a couple of changes because I had Andrea Josivas in my lineup, who I was excited to play if Chase wasn't going to play.
Okay.
He's the youngster for Cincinnati. Had 8 targets last week. If he's available in your dynasty league, you should grab him. T. Higgins is unlikely to be there next year. Tyler Boyd is 30, and kid looked good. So anyway,
well, do we want to get questions before your lineup, or are the questions DFS related, or
he went first? Let's just get my lineup out of the way.
Okay, we'll get to your questions in just a minute, guys.
All right, so for 7,000 at quarterback, I'm gonna start Brock Purdy. That was my plan.
Yeah.
In a lot of leagues was to ride Purdy for the championship week against the Commanders, and I'm not going to change plans now just because he had a bad game. Got to play McCaffrey at 9,600. My other running back is DeAndre Swift at 6,500, who I'm super excited about today. My receivers are going to be led by Chris Olave because I like watching the Saints. He's the only one they're going to throw the ball to. Then, as I said, JSN. I think JSN is a great play at 4,800 today.
That is a good price.
He's $1,000 cheaper than Tyler Lockett, and I would rather have him. Like, to me, he's the best receiver of the bunch this week. And then my dart throw is Brandon Johnson at 3,300. And I'm super excited about that one today. I think that's going to be.
Remind me, Brandon Johnson.
Brandon Johnson's the wide receiver for the Broncos.
Right. Okay.
And so I think he's going to have a big day today. Another thing about that is that they sat Russ Wilson, and so Stidham is going to come in. And a lot of times what happens is these backup quarterbacks come in and like they pepper
they throw the guys that they've been throwing to in practice. Yeah.
So, and that's who Brandon Johnson is.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I like
nice
that.
little dart throw there.
I like that a lot. And then at tight end, I had to make some adjustments. I wanted to play T McBee, but I switched, and I'm going to go Gerald Everett at $3,500. I like him a lot today. The matchup is really good, and it's a nice little stack back against Brandon Johnson. And then my flex for $5,900, I'm going to play James Conner. That was part of that swap up. And then at defense, Patrick Mahomes just turned the ball over. So I'm going to save some money. I'm going to play the Bengals today.
There you go. All right, let's get to those questions.
Yeah, we got 3 in the queue, guys. Sorry about that. We had to just kind of find a nice little spot to stop. All look like new YouTubers for us. Don't forget to subscribe. So first we have Jacob, Friesel, and Varun all in with questions. We'll start off with Jacob. Start 2, PPR, Higgins, Ridley, and Lockett.
Ooh, boy. I don't like your situation as much as some of the other ones we've heard. That's tough. I think I would probably go Ridley and Lockett because Chase is going to play and because they have their backup quarterback in Browning. And the Chiefs' defense is a top 10 defense. They're at home. They have to win today.
Starting Ridley feels bad today.
Ridley's getting 12 targets a week, and he scored twice last week. Once they weren't targeting him in the first half, but the second half he blew up. They're at home. They need to win. You know.
Yeah.
I would rather play Ridley than Higgins.
Oh man, that is a tough one, man.
It's tough.
That is a tough one.
It's tough.
I think I would lean
and Lockett's automatically into me.
Out of
That's
those choices. Yeah, you definitely go with Lockett. I think I'd probably go Higgins, but man, that'd be a tough choice. Got some tough choices.
But I think we agree Lockett's number 1, and then it's between Higgins and Ridley. But I would go Ridley.
You know what? I'm going to change my answer. I'd go with Ridley just because he's got a higher upside.
He's just been so much more consistent this year than, and he's the number 1 target on the team.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'd go Ridley. Tough though.
Next question. PPR. Start 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, and 1 flex. Achane, Swift, Eckler, Pittman, Cup.
Oh boy.
So basically, leave somebody out, right?
No,
so
3. Leave 2 out. There's 5 guys there, and he needs 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, and a flex. So, to me, the most volatile ones on there are probably Pittman and Achane, because Pittman coming off of his concussion. The Raiders defense has been playing really well.
What are the other choices there? I'm sorry.
Kupp, Swift, Eckler, Achane. And so, to me, I'm trying to play 2 of those running backs. So I'm probably playing Kupp at wide receiver, and then I'm probably playing Swift and Eckler.
Woo, those are some tough choices.
They are tough choices, but that's where I would be.
Swift and Eckler
over because I really like. Yeah. I'm getting more worried by the minute about the Dolphins' chances in Baltimore. I'm just.
I see you, Varun. We'll get to your questions.
Ooh, I think I agree with you there, man. I think I agree with you there. But, man, it feels bad leaving Achane on the bench.
Okay,
All
next.
Right, go ahead.
Next question. For a defense, Colts, Rams, or Bears?
Is that it says Broncos?
Probably
Rams, Broncos, or Bears, right?
Colts, Rams, or Bears?
I'm behind.
Oh, and then that's another question later.
Okay,
Same
so
guy,
Colts,
right?
Rams, or Bears.
You might have 2 leagues.
I think I'd probably go Rams there.
And I'm probably playing the Bears.
Yeah, Rams or Bears are my 2 choices there. I think it's a toss-up between the 2.
The Rams are on the road, which that's the only thing that gives me pause.
But I feel like the Rams are going to crush that game, and that's why I give the defense the edge there.
I tend to think that too. It's just they are a really young team on the road.
Cross country.
In the championship, I think I'd rather bet on the team at home that's had a pretty decent run as of late against an offense isn't going to score 30.
Yeah.
Like Bijan might have a great game against the Bears, and they still might not score 20 points.
Yeah, tough choice, but I'd take the Rams by a hair.
Okay, Z White or Mixon, PPR?
Zamir White.
White.
Okay, James Cook or Kamara PPR?
That one's tough. I think I would go Kamara.
I would too.
Okay, then the last one, Rams D, Broncos D, or Bears D?
And again, it's going to be between the Bears and the Rams, and for me, I'd probably pick the Bears because I'm just
I
worried.
think I like Broncos there actually.
I'm just worried.
Broncos sitting Russell Wilson.
I'm just worried about what the Broncos have going on right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of
they struggled.
dysfunction.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
They struggled at home against the Patriots last week. The Chargers are even without Keenan Allen, without Josh Herbert or Justin Herbert, they're still a better offense than the Patriots are.
That's hilarious.
It's true.
Yeah, like I say, I just don't have any faith in Easton Stick there.
I do. I like what I saw.
Thank you for the questions.
Better, though.
Don't forget to subscribe. And thank you to all our new
You're
subs
welcome,
today. Expansive Acorn and Gavin, Moeller, Mateo, Rogelio, and Stephen Grice. So you're snaking back.
Mm-hmm.
You're snaking back.
Was that all the questions?
Well, we just got one right now. McBride or Goddard this week?
McBride.
Okay, snake
The beast.
Snake it back. It's almost 10 o'clock. People's games are going to start.
I didn't.
No tournament lineup?
No. I'll rattle mine off real quick because I do like mine.
I could see that though because we don't really track tournament.
There were so many games going, and we don't because we don't track them, so I didn't feel obligated to do it, and I wasn't excited to play this tournament slate.
I play for free, so
yeah. There's a lot of good value on here. Okay, I went with Brock Purdy in my tournament lineup. Might be a little bit chalk, but hard to get away from. DeAndre Swift, I'm just putting him in all my lineups. Zamir White, same thing. Chris Olave, same thing. My big one here is I'm leaving Christian McCaffrey out, and I'm going with Deebo Samuel. I think there's definitely a world in which Purdy to Deebo is a 3-touchdown matchup today. I was listening to some of the matchup information earlier. I can't repeat it all back, but Deebo could be an absolute smash play today. Curtis Samuel is my savings guy for 4,400. Today, Howell just seems to love Curtis Samuel, so at 4,400, they're going to be behind all day. He's going to get peppered with targets. Smythe, again, at tight end. 2,900 is just too cheap for him right now, and I don't think a lot of people are going to be playing him, so you might be able to get him at a low percentage. If he happens to get a touchdown, he could be killer. Nico Collins is fantastic, and the Patriots DST, you never know. Like we were talking about earlier, Buffalo, that is a divisional game, and New England beat them earlier, and you never know. So if I'm going to punt my defense, I'm going to do it with the Patriots.
Okay, my cash lineup, I'll just riddle off real quick. I didn't go by any kind of conventional strategy. I just kind of tried throwing points up and punted some too. Stafford, McCaffrey, McLaughlin, Tyreek Hill, D. Samuel, D. Robinson, T. Higbee, W. Mallory, and Commanders.
Oh my God, you're gonna play the Commanders defense?
I needed the money.
You're
I was going to
insane.
say that.
There's got to be a better play, right?
That's
There
desperation.
wasn't.
Oh boy,
No, the Commanders are
I'd almost rather not
2,000,
start a
yeah.
defense right there. You should just spend up in a couple other spots.
Is that a thing? Can you do that?
Yes.
No, you have to start.
Do you?
Yeah.
You have to start a defense?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't think you do.
Yeah, you have to start somebody in every position.
I don't think you do.
Let me see if I can set a lineup without the defense here.
No, because I'm pretty sure because I play against people all the time.
Lineup incomplete.
I would do that all the time.
No. You can
Yeah.
set the lineup and then, I don't know.
I think that would
You
be
have to have somebody there.
I think that would be a strategy for a lot of people if you could do that.
That'd be a good strategy.
All right, next up, LA Chargers versus the Denver Broncos. Plus 3.5 for the Chargers. Over unders 37.5. Plus 142 is the money line on the Chargers, and minus 170 if you're betting on the Broncos.
Yeah, I'll take the Broncos there. I've established that I think the Chargers are done this year, especially with Easton Stick. I have no confidence.
I'll take the Chargers actually.
Yeah, I was going to go
Because
Chargers too.
Because
actually.
I think the Broncos are turning into a shit show.
There you go.
Um,
Come on, Stidham, be a thing.
And then the last game is the Packers versus the Vikings. Packers plus 1, over unders 43, minus 102 if you're betting on the Packers, and minus 118 if you're betting on the Vikings.
Got to go with the Packers here. They seem to be the better team, even if they're on the road. They've definitely been making mistakes lately, but I think they're just the better team. Vikings with their quarterback situation, they're really hard to bet on, even though that defense is coming together a little bit. Give me Green Bay. Not excited about any of the DFS options in that game, by the way.
And I will take the Vikings at home.
There you go.
Dinger. Okay.
See, we're agreeing on all the other games, and now we're just...
Let me see here.
See how that works out.
I was kind of hoping this would be my lone wolf game, but...
Oh, sorry, buddy.
No, it's fine.
Did you not get one?
No, I didn't. It's fine. It's cool. But yeah, I think What are the Vikings and the Packers records?
The Vikings, they're both still in the hunt.
I know. What are the records?
I want to say they're both like 7-7, but
Yeah, are they tied?
I'd have to look.
Let's look it up real quick.
All right, where are we?
We got through all the games before 10 o'clock. How about that?
I know,
Really?
right? We filled
Well,
out all the questions.
we started going really fast. If you guys are still out there, we usually go a little bit more in depth in those games.
Well, I mean,
but,
to
man,
be
we got,
honest, honestly, there wasn't a whole lot more that I wanted to say about a lot of those games. Maybe like the Steelers and Seahawks we brushed over. Maybe that one we brushed over a little fast, maybe because there's a bunch of
usually we go through
and
we point out the individual players for fantasy a little bit more. But
thought we did.
This is championship week, and you guys know who you're starting. And obviously we got a ton of questions today, so you know that's the thing is you all have your individual things going on there.
Looking back through there, the one thing I would want to mention is like I think DJ Moore is going to have a monster day.
Okay.
We didn't really talk about that
You're
too
right,
much.
yeah.
Without Darnell Mooney, there's like literally no one for Justin Fields to throw the ball to. So DJ Moore's going to have 10 plus targets. And I think he will score today.
Vikings and Packers are both 7 and 8.
7 and 8. Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is a good one.
So what's up? You guys want to bullshit a little bit before we log out,
Absolutely.
just in case we get a last minute question that comes in?
I got to share with you guys. I drive a lot, right? So I have to change my oil on my car like every 5-6 weeks. And so I was changing my oil, and this last couple weeks I've been I pushed it back farther than I normally do because I've been struggling to find the oil filter that I want because I always get the same thing. I always go with mobile products, and for whatever reason my brain was on that I needed a specific mobile filter that was actually incorrect. And I went to the auto parts store, and I'd been going, and I'd not been seeing this filter that I was looking for, 108 versus 103, and I was finally just like, whatever, I got to change my oil. I'll just get a comparable one, right? So at the auto parts store, I asked for the oil filter for my car, and so they give me the STP one, and I go home and I change my oil, and I'm putting the oil filter on. And it just feels weird. It just feels different, and it just didn't. It just kind of like latched on fast, and I was like, that doesn't feel right. And I pulled it back off of there, and I tried it again and I put it back on, and it went on the same way. And so I was like, I just guess that's how it's supposed to be. And I finished doing the job, putting the oil in and everything, and I always run my car for like 10 minutes after I change the oil, just to make sure there's no problems and everything. Everything sounds right, and my car didn't sound right, I was like, man, I guess I do need to change, like, I need to change something, I need to tune up or something. And then I go to turn off the car, and there's oil pooling underneath my car. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And so immediately you turn off the car and look underneath, and there's just, and I've got pictures of it, but it's just like, it had, in like, under 10 minutes had dumped out like everything that I just put in it. And yeah, so I had to spend a good hour and a half, doing the cleanup, and then going back down there. And so funny part about this is like when I had asked for the oil filter, the person behind the counter had told me that the mobile one was 103, and I was pretty sure that it was 108. So I was like, no, I don't. I always use this particular one, and I was like, you know what? I wonder if they actually have that one in stock. And I went and I looked before I left, and they did have the 103 in stock, and I was like, all right, yeah, I don't know, and I'll just go. This is supposed to work, so I'll just use this. So I already knew that I could just go back down there and get that one. So had to go back down to the auto parts store, get more oil, get another oil filter, go home, clean up all, and mind you, I had to use my girlfriend's car at this point because my car doesn't have oil in it. So go home, do the cleanup, in the garage, and it's like, thankfully I have carpets down, so that absorbed most of it and kept it from spreading out far, and I have cat litter, so was able to clean it all up.
Still, what a disaster.
But yeah, and like the only thing was that, like, typically I do this on a Wednesday before I leave for work on Wednesday night, but typically I'll do it like as like the last thing I do before I leave, and for whatever reason I decided not to do that this time, and I was trying to give myself some extra time, so it was like 7 p.m. when I was changing my oil instead of like 11 or 12 or something like that. And so I actually had the time to clean it up, and it didn't like affect my actual like work schedule and stuff like that. But yeah, so fun things that we deal with in our personal lives.
Right.
So that was a good time.
Oh, hey, we got a last minute question.
Yeah, we do actually, from Juan Garcia. So this is, I think, a new YouTuber for our channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Puka or Chimera at Flex?
Puka.
Yeah, Puka.
Puka. Yeah.
And Wada Busy
Chimera's
wants
a
to
little
know
dangerous
if
this
we
week.
watched any recent movies recently.
Let's see.
I mean,
I watched Rebel Moon, which was supposed to be like,
recent movies.
I wanted to watch that. Was that good?
I didn't care for it. It was okay. It's supposed to be like, I forget I think it was Zack Snyder. I can't remember who the director was, but it was like, he was supposed to do one of the Star Wars movies, and he got taken off, and this was his like, forget it, I'll make my own Star Wars, like, and that was kind of it. They had their
that was when they replaced the director for episode 8.
whoever it was, right? Yeah, and he so there was like a laser sword in there. I didn't think it had enough screen time. Very much not even close to being a Star Wars type movie. I mean, I wouldn't mind like a darker Star Wars, like you can call them dark side stories or something like that, and you could do the opening crawl in red instead of yellow. Like I have my own thoughts on that, and I thought, oh, cool, maybe we'll get something like that. You know what I mean? And it just wasn't hitting. It wasn't hitting the buttons. It's hard to do another Space Wizard. Like, how do you even make that lore? You know what I mean? So the best they could do was create some kind of a laser sword that didn't really hit.
My movies lately, my daughter is completely in love with Timothy Chalamet, I believe his name is. And so exactly, that's what I'm like, who?
The new teenage heartthrob.
But have you seen Dune?
Yeah.
The main guy in Dune.
Okay.
Paul Atreides in Dune.
Yeah.
So we rewatched Dune, and she's just like, oh, and I'm like, well, cool. At least it's a fantastic movie. You know what I mean? And then we went and watched Wonka at the theaters.
Isn't that a musical?
It has songs in it, but I wouldn't qualify it as a musical. But it's got Timothy Chalamet as the main character.
Oh, yeah,
Wonka.
that's right. Yeah.
And it's pretty good. It's a good Wonka movie. It's fun. Nothing super special, but good. And my kid loves it. The next week, she's got all her Christmas money and all her birthday money, and she's like, Dad, if I pay for it, can we go see it again? Like, wow, all right.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. So that's her crush right now.
Yeah, I haven't. I haven't watched. I haven't watched a new movie in a little while now. Like, other than like the kids movies from the summer and stuff. Like, I think the last new movie I remember watching was The Sound of Freedom.
Oh, wow.
Which was actually good, and it's available now.
Yeah, I saw that it was.
Yeah, I watched about a minute of that and went, nope, not gonna watch this.
Why?
You could just see how, obviously these kids were gonna get abused. These bad things were gonna happen to these kids, and I just was not interested in watching that in any way, shape, or form.
It's supposed to be based off a true story.
It is. It's all true.
I know bad things. I know bad things happen all over the world. I don't want to watch the bad things.
To me, it was. I thought it was a good movie for kids to watch. to be honest with you, because like kids nowadays, the things that they watch, the things that they watch are there's no boundaries. There's no boundaries anymore between them and like adults. A lot of like a lot of the little kid shows and stuff like that are adults that are driving their motivations and stuff like that, and leading them the way that they think and stuff like that. And so I think that we've gotten away from warning kids, about like the dangers of adults that are enticing you with things, which was the biggest thing in the movie, was that these kids and these parents are getting tricked into putting their kids into harmful situations based on the lure of things that their kids want to do. So because like all it was
I'll get around to watching it.
The main family that they follow, the main like kid and dad that they follow in the movie, it's like all the dad wants to do is like be a good dad and be supportive to what his kids want to do, and so
well, that's it, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe. We are also on the platforms, the podcasting platforms. There you go. That's iTunes and Spotify, all of them. So check us out. Till next time, everyone.
Peace out, guys. Go win your championship.
Dude, I watched all the John Wicks together. I'm talking to Desi right now. I watched all the John Wicks like back to back to back to back. That is gruesome. But yeah, dude, that's where my name comes from, by the way, the Baba Yaga.
Oh yeah, and one last thing too. Don't forget that if they messed up your guys' lineups, you can hit them up on X.
Yeah,
you hit me up on X.
Yeah, don't at me, bro.
Peace out, everyone.
No, you can at me whenever.
See ya.
Love you guys. Thank you.